So now moving towards the next speaker, I am profusely elated to introduce our next speaker of today's session, who is Mr. Asmat Ali from Survey of Pakistan. Mr. Asmat Ali graduated in 1998 from International Institute for Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, University of Twente, Netherlands. He got his master's degree in Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation with specialization in Geoinformation Management from the same university. Mr. Asmat is a PhD scholar at Arid Agriculture University, Rawalpindi. He has 32 years of experience in geospatial information production and management discipline as practitioner, trainer, and educator. He has served on a number of operational, administrative, and instructional appointments. He was in charge of the team who started GIS mapping and digital cartography at the Survey of Pakistan in 1999. His more than 25 research papers, including 2 book chapters and articles on spatial data infrastructure, GIS, remote sensing, e-governance, as well as land administration, have been published in various international conferences and renowned journals. In 2008, NSDI Asia Pacific identified him as the focal point for NSDI development in Pakistan. Global NSDI in 2016 acknowledged and awarded him as NSDI implementer from Pakistan. Moreover, he is an author of 2 books and is currently serving as the director of Survey of Pakistan. Now I would like to invite Mr. Asmat Ali to deliver a talk on the state of national NSDI in Pakistan. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon from Pakistan, and Zoya, thank you very much for such a long introduction, which may be boring for some of the participants. Anyhow, this is due to my old age. Thank you. And I am very thankful after learning from all the speakers so far. As she told, I am Asmat Ali, Director Survey of Pakistan. Today I will talk about state of NSDI in Pakistan, challenges and the way forward, which is very sensible and generic question. Okay, the outline is the same as was shared with everyone. Introduction, background, statement of the problem, methodology, results, and what is the outcome, and what is the way forward. So first of all, I will talk about Survey of Pakistan, my organization. These are the glimpses. These are the ground realities, landscape, I can say, and then Survey of Pakistan people, they go for data collection or data acquisition physically, not just sitting in the GIS lab, they actually go for field work. Then this data is managed, processed for visualization, for example. And software, perhaps you can recognize which software is there. There is products which are de facto products. The next step is data discovery, because if you have lot of data, you have terabytes or megabytes of data, it is essential to have some system or tool to discover data. So data discovery is the next part. And all these four things, data collection, data management, visualization, data discovery, it can't be done without capacity building or training. That's why Survey of Pakistan has a dedicated survey training institute, Islamabad, where I am presently posted. अभी उनको पता नहीं आवाज आ रही. Now next is mission of Survey Pakistan to delineate and demarcate international borders, carry out topographic survey, prepare national geographical database, and certainly publish maps of Pakistan. This is the mission in brief. After mission, it is important to highlight some of the key functions of Survey of Pakistan. Some of the key functions include, as previously mentioned, demarcation of international borders, to provide geodetic control and geographical positions all over Pakistan. To carry out topographic survey, certainly update it and print these maps on various scales such as 1:50,000. The next function was included in 2014, and this is to implement NSDI with collaboration of stakeholders. These are just few, and there is a long list of functions which can be Googled, please. Some signature products. Perhaps some of you have seen a news about Pakistan on 8th September. The Prime Minister Imran Khan, I'm sure you know this guy very well. He launched cadastral map of Islamabad. The cadastral map of Islamabad was prepared by Survey of Pakistan, and still there are two more cities, that is Lahore and Islamabad, which will be taken up along with state land data of the country. So our cadastral system is going to be digital from analog system. The question is, what will be the benefits? Here are the benefits. If you have digital system like cadastre, then certainly it would ensure transparency in record and transactions, and it would also help to eliminate land grabbing by different people and parties, which is a big issue almost in all countries. Now, some other products. This is multi-scale topographic database which Survey of Pakistan has developed. This is the same location on 250,000 scale, on 50,000 scale, and on 2,000 scale. So we have developed a seamless multi-scale topographic database, which is the foundation for development of several kinds of GIS applications as well as remote sensing applications. This is the foundation data, as Dr. Jill also mentioned. Another product, also it was appreciated by Prime Minister of Imran Khan. This is the political map, and it was unveiled last year in August. You can download also it from Survey Pakistan website. Now, maps are important, but this is not the era of paper maps and maps or atlases. This is the era of spatial databases. We not only have topographic databases, we also have geographical names database. By the way, let me say, this was developed as part of my MS thesis at ITC in 2008. So after coming back, I implemented it at a larger scale. Similarly, Survey Pakistan also have geodetic database having elevations of different points and coordinates. Without imagery, no base map is complete nowadays. So we do have imagery database of the entire country. Without meta database, no one can think about spatial data nowadays. And some people say, or Pandit or Guru say, metadata is more important than data. The next product is orthomap of Blue Area Islamabad. It was developed by our Directorate of Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing. The guys did a lot of good work, and it's in front of you. GPS network, yes. Without GPS, the story of navigation and positioning is incomplete. Survey Pakistan have a very good GPS network covering the entire country. If metadata is important, then for its efficient management, and let me also say data discovery, metadata catalog is more important. Survey Pakistan has already developed this metadata catalog. You can search the data, or let me say this is a kind of discovery service. This is in place in the department. Okay, and that was the first part of the presentation. And that was introduction of my organization, what they are doing, and what they have done so far. Now I will come to the formal topic of my this presentation, basically a research paper which I am going to present you. Spatial data to spatial data infrastructure. Let's start with the formal definition. What is spatial data? Over the period of years or decades, the term has gone from geospatial, geographic, location-based. These are all the same thing of a single product, and that is known as spatial data. And by the way, it's not my statement. Raja Byford, the Pandit of spatial databases, he is saying. United Nations last year they published few reports, and they said all countries and sectors need geospatial data for what? For development and decision making. Because if you are getting collecting data without mentioning the purpose, it doesn't make much sense. Geospatial data is produced by various organizations. Yes, almost every country has this situation. several organizations are usually collecting. For example, Geological Survey of Pakistan is collecting data of geology in Pakistan, whereas the Forest Department, they are collecting data. Geospatial data is produced by several organizations. For example, soil data, yes, it is being produced by Soil Department. This implies that sharing and exchange of data is crucial because you cannot get data of every kind in a single organization. It needs to be shared. And according to Messer, this is all about what an SDI is. That if there is data sharing, organizations are sharing their data, certainly there is SDI or spatial data infrastructure. This is the situation in Pakistan. Here you see there are 4 ministries collecting just data on land. Similarly, 21 data sets are being produced in different projects by 5 ministries. Climate change information is being acquired, collected, maintained by 3 ministries, food security by 2 ministries, and similarly, energy related information or data is being collected by 4 ministries. It's important to mention that under a ministry, usually there are more than 10, at least more than 10 departments. So now you can imagine how would be possible to get data from all these organizations if there is no such policy. Coming to spatial SDI for Pakistan, 13 years of the journey so far. In 99, when I was also there at ITC Anskade, and we are lucky to have 8 ITC fellows here, including Dr. Diana and Ganesh from Nepal and Tarun from Turkey, that a lady worked on this concept that geological survey, she named it. She said, Geological Survey of Pakistan, and SPARCO. These are 3 departments. Why they are not sharing data? And I am wondering they are wasting public money. I think she was absolutely correct. So I find her as the pioneer of NSDI in Pakistan. So the foundation of SDI in Pakistan was started by a lady, Pakistani lady. After coming back in 2000, I worked on the idea gave by Dr. Farah Sitar. Now she is PhD and she is teaching in Australia. When I went again to ITC in 2006, I took the topic potential of public-private partnership for NSDI implementation in Pakistan. So you can say in 2008, I took her idea and further worked on it. After coming to Pakistan in 2008, this idea was presented to Ministry of Defense. A proposal was prepared and it was sent to Ministry of Defense because Survey of Pakistan is a department of Ministry of Defense. After 2 years, the guys from the ministry, they said, please come and give us a presentation. So the Surveyor General of Pakistan was kind enough. He went there and he gave the concept. We were lucky in next year, in 2013, Ministry of Defense accorded approval for working on the NSDI. But problem was there was no legal framework. There was no legal authority or power with Survey of Pakistan to work on this initiative. In 2014, Surveying and Mapping Act was introduced in the country, and it gave us the power to continue working on NSDI. Usually, Act is translated into rules. People who know administration or laws and legal affairs, they know Act is always first and then it is followed by rules. So after 1 year, in 2015, mapping rules were framed and more details were described in the mapping rules, that how NSDI would be developed, how data will be managed, how it will be shared. In 2016, a detailed proposal in Pakistan, we call it PC2. It's a kind of preliminary findings that why the project is important, what kind of benefits it will bring, how much cost it will take, and how long would it take. So this is kind of a thesis, I must say. It was prepared and submitted in 2016 to the ministry. And then there was a long gap of 4 years. After 4 years, we were given budget, without which you can't do anything because financial resources are important. And in next year, means this year, we are struggling to hire a consultancy firm to carry out feasibility study of NSDI Pakistan. And presently this is the status. We are looking for to hire a suitable and expert firms who can do this job really. Now, objective or statement of the problem, I think from the previous slide. Statement of the problem from previous slide is obvious to you that SDI efforts which were started in 2010, why these has not been so fruitful on ground. What are the key challenges? What are the key challenges the country is facing? So this is the statement of the problem, and this was also the objective of this research paper. When there is a problem, certainly then there is need to sit with the stakeholders. No single person and no single organization can solve their project, the problems and challenges. They need to sit with all the stakeholders. So ultimately, the Survey General of Pakistan arranged a meeting and the stakeholders were called to come for a brainstorming session like our today's session. Materials and methods. First of all, to identify the challenges in implementing NSDI for Pakistan. As shown previously in the photograph, a meeting of major stakeholders was arranged last year. 20 people from different organizations were interviewed. What was the composition? 10 people from public sector, you can say from government departments, 7 from private companies, and 3 from universities or academia. These guys mentioned challenges. They identified issues which are shown in figure 1. It will be shown in next slides. In order to understand the root causes of problems. These guys said they gave a list of 15 issues, that these are the issues according to them. Now it was essential to know the root causes of these problems. So certainly there was need to do a stakeholder analysis, and it was conducted. For stakeholder analysis, a framework developed by Reed in 2009, it was adopted. And basically there were 3 steps. Number 1, to identify stakeholders. Okay. Number 2 was to categorize the stakeholders. And number 3 step was to investigate their relationships. Because if the stakeholders are not cooperating with each other, their interrelationships are not good, and they have bad relationships, certainly they will never sit and work on a common project. Further details, how these stakeholders were identified. These stakeholders were identified with the help of legal documents, meeting records and annual reports. Because you cannot include all the hundreds of organizations, you have to verify before including these stakeholders in the analysis, that actually they are NSDI stakeholders. For categorizing stakeholders, power interest based method was used, and to investigate relationships, actor linkage matrix was prepared to quickly understand. Certainly, results are more important than the talks. NSDI Pakistan, the guys who were interviewed, they gave a list of issues. And the issues were categorized under, first of all, category data. They said topographic data is not available. Sorry, this is the major issue. We cannot put information of minerals and rocks on topographic map. Similarly, they said the cost of data is very high. We cannot afford it. Next, they said data security policy is quite strict and it is hampering data sharing in the country. Institutional issues, the issues which are beyond the control of a single organization. For example, budget. A single organization itself cannot increase its budget. It has to go to finance division and concerned ministries. Under institutional issues, the challenges were coordination. The stakeholder said that there is no coordination. Everybody is trying to build his or her own mask. Similarly, there is no data sharing policy. Everybody is trying to collect data without sharing because policy is not there. Time hai na? Achha. Then incentives. If you don't give incentives to people, they will never share their information. So incentives are fundamental instruments to motivate organizations for data sharing. Data management, people believe data is not being managed properly. These are just junk of shape files, KML files, blind CAD files. There is no proper organization of the data in a sensible manner. Budget constraints, we don't have money. Sorry, we cannot buy servers, we cannot have high-speed internet for data sharing. Similarly, they said the roles of stakeholders are not properly defined. For example, I can say in Pakistan, SPARCO is also doing topographic survey. Survey of Pakistan is also doing topographic survey. it is important to mention this is the mandate of Survey of Pakistan, but the other organization is also doing it. This is a kind of duplication. Therefore, there is need to write down stakeholders' roles clearly. Partnership, yes, without establishing partnerships, you cannot work on long projects such as SDIs. Under technical issues or challenges, they said, sorry, we don't have access network, means there is no internet or intranet. How we will share information with other organizations? Similarly, there is no national geoportal. Geoportal is used to put or share geospatial information or spatial data. This is also not there. Under human resources category, organizations are complaining we don't have trained guys, and the people who are trained, they usually go to Dubai and Saudi Arabia. You know, this is called brain drain, or they go to UK or USA. So we are facing the deficiency of trained manpower. Also, there was a sore point, and that was staff utilization. People mentioned that if somebody knows GIS or RS, he usually given the task which is not related to GIS development or remote sensing. He or she is deployed somewhere else, like blah blah job, like typing or preparing some slides, nice slides and presentations. Now, identification of stakeholders. 59% organizations in Pakistan which are stakeholders of the NSDI are government. From academia, 17% stakeholders are there, and from private companies, 12%. Whereas from other sectors like researchers, like Tarun and Ganesh and Dr. Diana, they are all researchers. So they are also stakeholders. Now, power and interest grid of NSDI stakeholders. It's a short and brief description. Stakeholder number one, Survey of Pakistan itself. What the power it possesses. Serving and Mapping Act, yes. We are proud that Survey of Pakistan has an act. So it has the legal authority. Functions as a node coordinate, as a node connector. What is the interest? Interest of Survey of Pakistan is it has mandate to implement NSDI, and also its interest is to collect basic geospatial data. This is also its interest, because this is one of the function. Publish base maps and set up national geoportal. These are all interests of this. Ministry of Defense. What kind of power they possess? SOP basically works under Ministry of Defense, and it will act as NSDI users. What is the interest of the ministry is they utilize geospatial data for border management and defense purposes. Third is Planning Commission, the apex body in Pakistan. What is their power? They provide the funds. This is their strength and power. And what is their interest? They develop national public policies for which topographic and thematic data sets like water resources and geology and minerals, all these are required. Federal government departments, certainly they collect geospatial and thematic data, and they also integrate. Other stakeholders, provincial governments, they are a bit on the lower side. They have geospatial as well as thematic data. But let me say they have large scale geospatial information, which is more accurate and is really required for development planning. District government, same is the case with them. Surveying and mapping company, the private companies, their interest is to collect geospatial data and certainly to sell it. Researchers, they are always interested to write their research paper by using geospatial data. NGOs, they collect thematic data and they also do very nice analysis. GS application developer, yes, they collect data and develop applications. Same is the case with GS software like Easily. They provide software for geospatial data acquisition, management, and dissemination. Students, they are always hungry for geospatial data because they have to complete their research and thesis. Citizens, they are always interested to access the data. Results, this is a grid. These are 4 quadrants in front of you. And along y-axis, there is PAR. Along x-axis, there is interest. At the top left side, stakeholders, this is ministry and planning commission. And we call these contact setters. They are possessing high power, but unfortunately their interest is low. On their opposite side, all the government departments, including Geological Survey of Pakistan, SPARCO, blah, 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 they possess high power and they are really interested in developing NSDI. And on this side, on the bottom right, these are NGOs, private companies. They have, let me say, lower power and high interest because they will generate their revenue and the salary of their employees only if there is data available. 13, these are crowds. These are citizens. They have little power and certainly little interest. Data resources, it is essential to know what kind of data is available with the organization. How much data Geological Survey have? Is it compatible with certain standards or it is just raw files? So these are the basic questions. And these questions were raised in the questionnaire. And the picture is a bit rosy that federal government departments have topographic and thematic geospatial data. But provincial and district governments have most of their geospatial data in GIS format. There are some organizations still here shown in red, such as district government departments and even provincial government departments. They don't have geospatial data. And if they have, the data is not in GIS format. They have Excel files. And you have to sit all night to convert this data into shape files. Similarly, basic geospatial data is available and data on certain standards that has been prepared. This is also available in some federal departments. Technical infrastructure, if you have data but you don't have data centers, data sharing facilities, access network, you cannot share your data with the other organization. Now the results of this research reveal that very few federal government departments, I can name it like Survey of Pakistan, Geological Survey of Pakistan and SPARCO. These are the 3 key pillars. They have, but other organizations, they don't have such technical infrastructure which is mentioned here, internet available, hardware, software, or data centers, all these things. If you have data, you have a very good internet speed, bandwidth, but if you don't have trained people, nothing will work. So results in this slide show that federal government departments and private companies have good number of skilled personnel because they invest in them. However, provincial and district government departments don't possess so much good strength of the trained people in GIS and remote sensing. If you have data, you have internet connection, you have people, but you don't have money, how you will pay to these guys? If you will not pay, they will not never work. So financial resources, this is very important. Unfortunately, here all the departments are in the same boat. Every department is facing difficulty in terms of financial resources because government is giving just a very limited budget. Relationships matter in our personal life and also among the organizations. It applies. So if we look at the diagram, here we see most of the thick arrows are among government departments. So I can say that government departments are well connected, but they are not well connected with users or citizens. And also departments at federal level are not well connected with departments at district or provincial level. So there is a horizontal and vertical hierarchies. Conclusion. This study has identified the kind of problems Pakistan is facing. You cite the major obstacles include limitations of technical resources like data servers and dedicated bandwidths, data sharing infrastructure, financial support, budget, and also they are facing problem in trained manpower. Lack of partnerships as well as lack of incentives is also one of the major reasons for not sharing data in Pakistan. Because government is not willing to pay an incentive in terms of cash or some other form. So organizations say, why we should share data with other organizations? And they are afraid that we will lose our control if we will share our data. This can be overcome by providing incentives and certainly by making arrangements, legal arrangements such as partnerships. Couple of suggestions or recommendations. Role of every stakeholder need to be defined clearly so that every department should know that this is the domain of their department and they should not cross this domain. Pooling of resources and human and technical resources, all the department can't have equal number of people and resources due to importance as well as the overall organization of a department. So the idea is to pool these resources, and if there is some request from department A to get people from department B, then there should be arrangements to hire those people from that department instead of recruiting new people and training them and wasting years. Next recommendation is incentives for geospatial data sharing organization. Yes, especially in case of private sector organizations, if we will not give them incentives, they will never share their data. Monitoring and evaluation is part of every project. Certainly, this should also be part of NSDI development. For active interaction among stakeholders, meetings not should be arranged after months and years, but these should be arranged after every 1 or 2 months, if possible. These are the references. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asmat, for this comprehensive presentation. and it was very much clarifying for all of us to understand the state of national SDI in Pakistan. So we have some questions in the chat section from Mr. Diana and Dr. Jill.
Okay, yes, I was looking at the slides when she was firing a lot of questions, Dr. Diana. Shooting questions, which is the biggest challenge that Survey of Pakistan is facing currently? That's a very good question from Dr. Diana Maria, and it's a practical question, I should say. The biggest challenge at this moment is we are unable to hire people to conduct feasibility study. And the fact is, one complete year has been wasted. We have given advertisements in newspapers and also we uploaded on social media, RG, LinkedIn, and blah. But we were not able to hire really good firms, and people who were selected technically, they refused to come to Pakistan. This is also a big challenge. They are afraid to come to Pakistan. I don't know why, perhaps you know. They are afraid of COVID. They say, sorry, we cannot go from Belgium, from Norway to Pakistan, and we cannot stay in hotel for 15 days. And then after coming back from Pakistan, again, we stay for 15 days in Amsterdam or Amsterdam for 15 days. Sorry, we cannot do this. So this is the biggest challenge right now. Next question is, Next question is, which has been the role of Survey of Pakistan after earthquake in the country? Very good question. At that moment, I was working as Central Database Administrator. And unfortunately, people were calling and they were asking me for topographic sheets, but policy was not there. So I was saying, sorry, I cannot give data. Sorry, I cannot give maps. And I can say that ITC and Mr. Case DB, I think Dr. Diana know very well him. He is from NRM department, KSDB. Dr. KSDB and his team prepared all the maps of earthquake area of Pakistan within 24 hours and put all these maps on the web. So coming back to your question, yes, unfortunately Survey of Pakistan was not able to share maps during earthquake, although it should have been. And the basic reason was there was no policy or no law for sharing these maps with everyone. Perhaps I answered your question. Now, thank you for your interesting presentation. Welcome. Thank you for. Okay, I don't see any question. If there is, please you can raise hand or you can write again. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you again for your presentation. It's ironically that there is a lack of funding, but still there is no data sharing between institutions. How is possible to incentive or promote the data sharing between institutions to don't waste money? Because you were talking about some incentives to share data, but which could be those incentives, and from who depend that the different state institutions share data between them?
Incentives.
Yes, thank you very much. Another practical question from Dr. Diana Maria, ITC fellow. Actually, as I mentioned during my presentation, if you will not give incentives, why people should share data? If you will say share data, if you will ask me, I will fire back that what I will get in return. This is basic question, and this is, I think, fundamental human right. And same applies to organizations. Data is collected after investing many years, several years, and a lot of money is spent on it. So this is basic question that if no incentive is given and you say there is law, please share the data, nobody will bring it to the table and everything will be just in the dustbin. So only laws and policies cannot help to share data. And yes, I fully agree, without incentives, this kind of move cannot be successful. Perhaps I responded to your answer, question. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Some more questions? Yes, please. Mr. Sajid from my Survey Training Institute. Okay, please ask fire the question.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please. Fire it.
Sir, as in the presentation, it was mentioned by you, sir, that Survey of Pakistan has the mandate according to Surveying and Mapping Act 2014 that only SOP has the mandate for topographic map. And it was mentioned that SPARCO is also doing the topography. So why SOP is not raising a question that they have the mandate, then why other organizations are duplicating this?
Yes, thank you very much. Nice question from your experience. Actually, this issue has been raised several times on many forums, including Planning Commission.
Okay.
But we can do what Survey of Pakistan can do is only bring it into black and white. We also did it, and now we are thankful to the Ministry of Defense. They are trying to settle this issue, and they are trying to overcome this kind of duplication, which is not the mandate of SPARCO, and similarly some other departments may be doing data collection which may be with Survey of Pakistan already. So ministry is already working on it, and this issue has been raised on various platforms, also such as Planning Commission, and I was also there. I am witness. So you can believe me, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah, please. Yeah, this is Ganesh from Nepal. If you allow me to pose a question, please.
Certainly, I will allow you.
Thank you so much for your excellent presentation, and it's quite enlightening for me to relate your position with my country. But I'm quite concerned about if government makes a policy to share the data from the public organization. So why do you need incentive? What sort of incentive the other organization seeks from you? For example, if they are producing different type of data, if Survey of Pakistan asks them to share their data with them, what sort of incentive would they expect? Because they have done this all from the public money. So why there should be a question? What sort of incentive? Do they have prepared? This is already, the product is there. This is created by the public money. If one organization asks to provide their data, then why should there be a question?
Yes, thank you very much. Dear Ganesh, question is very practical and it's very relevant, especially for Asia, where we are sitting right now. You know, Asia is a basically privacy conscious region, and people are always reluctant, including myself, we are reluctant to share our information. And yeah, I'm sure Dr. Deeman, Professor Deeman at ITC, he might have taught you a few lessons about culture, role of culture in information sharing. I see a smile on your face. It means you have attended his lecture. So he believes that NSDIs or data sharings can't be implemented beyond the box of cultural boundaries. I do agree that policies are there, acts are there, laws are there, but you know, on ground, all these things seldom work. Perhaps you would agree, especially in South Asia or in Asia. You have to do some extra, not only laws and rules, because after defining laws and rules, you need their implementation. And for the implementation, you need implementation instruments. And the choice of implementation instruments actually is the real challenge for any organization. So yes, I do agree that government organizations, they are spending public money, they are preparing data, but they are not sharing it. Although we certainly quote, there is law, but you see, when you come to the ground, things don't work as we read in the books. But we are hopeful that after introducing some incentives, then both incentives as well as legal instruments, both will affect positively and will produce good results. Perhaps I responded to your question rightly?
Yes, sir. You responded rightly. But you know, I am the fan of Right Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan. I am not only his fan as a player, but as a politician. I am fan of quite a few leaders around the globe, and I would suggest you should convince him. You know, the whatever is going, I think he will listen you very quickly. That's what I understand. That's what I realize. So please, I advise you to do that. And thank you so much once again for answering my question.
Okay, thank you very much, dear. Actually, Prime Minister Imran Khan is a nice guy, and he is very kind to Survey of Pakistan. As I showed in my slides, our map last year was unveiled by the Prime Minister himself, and similarly this year, about 2 days ago, he also launched cadastral map of Pakistan. So certainly this the project of NSDI development is also a kind of initiative by the Prime Minister, I can say. But you know, first of all, you have to decide priorities and then you have to act accordingly. But I very welcome your suggestion, and I would think about it to writing him directly about this NSDI. Thank you very much. There is a written question, Zoya is saying, as you stated, NSDI is a collaborative work. Are there other organizations, national plan, that have skilled staff on SDI topic? Yes, dear Abdul Wahid Tarun, yes, similarly. Those organizations similar to federal, they also have manpower, but their manpower is limited. And only one human resources. At national level, we have very good number of people. At provincial level, it decreases, and when you go down at district level, it further decreases. So there is a kind of reciprocal relationship between number of staff and the level of administration, I must say. Hope I answered your question. Dear Tarun, are you around? Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? There is question from Dr. Jill from Esri, US. Thank you. Here is the US. We have had to overcome challenges with culture reluctant for data sharing, success sharing, imagery and evaluation data for the requirement for exchange by release of public open data. What opportunities are there for this, for that data exchange as the incentive to sharing data? What opportunities are there for this? Open data?
This for that exchange idea.
Yes.
Exchange.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jail. And it's indeed a nice question. Exchange, the biggest problem here in Pakistan, what I must say is, people think that their data is more valuable and costly than the data possessed by organization B. So they say, sorry, we cannot exchange data. Give us money also with this data set. So this is the issue, that you can only exchange if both of the data sets are considered equal in value. But if one organization believes strongly that their product is super kind of product and the accuracy and the resolution is very high. So this is the issue. First of all, the organizations are reluctant to exchange, and if they exchange, then they usually demand guarantee that you will not further share this data. Then what will you do with that kind of data exchange? Because you have to use it for different applications. So this is the situation, but the Survey of Pakistan is working on open map series, and these maps will be totally open for the public. And the initiative is under active implementation for the last 2-3 years. I hope most of the maps, or more than half of the maps, are already covered. So there will be no issue of security. People or guys will come and they will collect these maps and data. Have I answered you, Dr.
Yes,
Jill?
thank you so much. Yes, and I think that the leadership that you just described is a enormous first step in establishing that culture of sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Sir, this is question from my fellow from Survey of Pakistan. Thanks for the presentation. What is your opinion? How can we engage people and organizations to share data? Yes, Mr. Khubab has also questioned in a twisted way. We can engage people and organizations to share data in 2 ways. First of all, there should be legal and policy framework. Legal policy framework. Number 2, incentives. In short, I can say stick and carrot both will work. If you will use only one stick, nothing will happen. And similarly, if you will just distribute carrots, nothing will come out and people will eat up all the carrots happily. And they will say, sorry, goodbye, we don't have data. So in my opinion, stick and carrot both are the things which needs to be implemented. Means legal policies, framework, and also coupled by certain incentives. Do you think I have addressed your question, sir? Mr. Khubair. Oh, good. Thank you. I am happy to see when you write yes. Thank you very much. Any more question? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much. It means it's over now, and I know brother Tarun is waiting for his presentation, and I know waiting is very painful. So perhaps, brother, if you allow us, we can take a 5 or 10 minutes break, and after that we can resume, if you allow us.
10 minutes is good for everyone. I have time. 10 minutes would be very
Okay,
nice.
okay. Thank you very much. This is like ITC break. Thank you very much. After 10 minutes, we meet again.